years in the making and is tipped as one of the biggest shooters of 2008. But how much do you really know about Far Cry 2? Back in February, I was lucky enough to chat with Far Cry 2's producer, LP Farrand. And with the game set to make a big splash at UB Days next week, what better time for a recap? So LP, Far Cry 2, one of the most talked about first-person shooters of the year. So first of all, let's talk about a note that I saw in an earlier interview that you guys did, where you compared Far Cry 1 with the island of Dr. Moreau and Far Cry 2 with Heart of Darkness. Tell us about that.
The original Far Cry was a scientist on an island, basically, creating mutants. So the link to the island Dr. Moreau, you can make a direct correlation between the two.
I mean, it seemed to be that Far Cry 1 is about the physical breakdown of someone, and
yes.
Far Cry 2 is about the mental breakdown?
Yeah, which is something that hasn't been really touched in games, which is something that we have put, 3 years of development, which a lot of effort in making sure that we've got a compelling story, and not only about you moving along and shooting people. And this is why we want to have a grindier game, dirty game. Immersion is complete, and we want people to, to portray their characters. This is why they can choose a character. We're not forcing them to play a character. So it's pretty much not all the time the same story for everyone, because you decide what you do. You choose your missions, you choose how you progress in the game. But yes, we want to play with the minds of people, and yes, ideally, we want them to get those senses and get the feeling that they're becoming a little bit more insane as they go through.
Give us a little bit of background about the story of Far Cry 2.
Well, Susan O'Connor was a writer of BioShock, Gears of War as well. She was on board with Clint Hawking, our creative director, and Patrick Redding, our narrative designer. They've been working, a lot together and making sure that we've got this great story. Like I'm saying, immersion is super key for us. We want to make sure that, once you're in it, nothing takes you out of it, and story is a key element of it. Basically, you wake up in an hotel room. You're sick with malaria, and you're just like you're gazing over here, you're in bed trying to find, and you sense a presence. And that presence actually starts talking to you and going through a dossier and flipping it and talking to you and saying, oh, so you're here to kill me. So you're kind of like, okay, that's the guy I'm here to kill. I'm an assassin. And that guy says, good luck finding me, buddy. Drops the dossier, gives you his gun, and says, good luck to you, and just splits.
Nice of it.
Yeah, actually. So basically what happens is, to get information on this guy and to get to him, you're going to have to work with these two factions. These two factions are trying to take part of a country, part of a huge piece of land. They're fighting over it, and you need to work with these guys to get information to get to your target, and you're progressing through the game. But there was, like I said, this game is a huge spider web, so we actually needed Susan's attention, Pat's, and Clint's. We really focus on making sure there's no loophole in there.
You mentioned getting your hands dirty. There seems to be a really big emphasis on this for Far Cry 2. So why choose what some could argue a rather picturesque setting of Africa?
Well, actually, the people's images of Africa have been seen in movies, nice shots, nice pictures and everything. We've been there, and it's a dirty place, actually. The amount of sand and dirt in your face and on your clothes and on you all the time. And we wanted to push that, not only on the aesthetics, but your guns are jamming in the game, so you have to unjam your weapons. Your trucks will malfunction, your vehicles, and you have to fix them. And it's not, we want to make it visceral. You have to heal yourself. If you get a bullet shot in your calf, you're gonna have to pry it out.
So we talked about some of the physical limitations, for example, your gun jamming.
Yes.
But Far Cry 2 is a lot about freedom, am I correct?
Yes, exactly. It's something that we've added a couple of keywords, and our decisions, creative decisions, technological decisions as well, has always been driven by these keywords. One of them is immersion, and one of them is freedom of play, freedom in general. So the player can choose the character he wants, can play the mission in the order that he wants. If you want to go just explore for 2 hours, you can. But the thing is that you can do wherever you want. It's 50 square kilometers. You get your maps. You've got your ways to navigate. You got multiple types of vehicles. We've got a great river system where you can go in boats, different vehicles. We've got the glider. I mean, you've seen it. It's just give you an immense sense of openness. And you can go wherever you want. In the original Far Cry, you were basically on a string going down a canyon. Well, in Far Cry 2, I mean, you've got this huge open land that you can take advantage of with the glider. And this is what we want to push the player to explore. We want to push the player to choose how he wants to play.
So we've talked about Africa, we've talked about the setting.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the character, and let's finally put these rumours of mutants in Far Cry 2 to bed. Give us the official word on it. Are there mutants in Far Cry 2?
Can I say the F word? There's no f***ing mutants in this game. No mutants. I just don't get this one. We were pretty clear. We've been clear since the beginning. It's something that we didn't like in the first one. It's something that gamers have been super vocal about it to us in focus testing. They didn't like that part. The main character has malaria, which is a disease that a lot of people have in Africa. And it's a layer added to the character, and he needs to take his medicine, and he needs to get medicine in the game. And depending on how infamous he is in the world and his progression throughout the game, well, people are going to give him medicine or not. And this is how he needs to manage, the player needs to manage that. But there's no mutants.
Well, it's good to get an official word on that.
Yes. No mutants.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. You mentioned about the infamy. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, basically, the player, how he fights, how he does his missions, how he progresses through the games, through his actions, becomes more and more infamous, or not. And the infamy level that you will have, well, you'll get reactions differently from any social encounters that you will have in the game, because there's a huge social bubble in a way that we have in our game. It's an added layer that we want the gamers to have for one important reason. Everybody's experience is going to be different in this game. In the end, what we want, and it's something that we're experiencing every day, we're playing the game, and then you will hear someone, just shouting at, at the other hand of the floor saying, man, that was cool, come and see it. And then we're kind of like, man, it never happened to me. This is super cool. And then we try to do it again, and it doesn't necessarily happen. Everything is procedural in this game. So, like, we're doing demos, it's super nerve-wracking, because we never know what's going to happen. We're a team where, at the beginning, we've decided we're going to have a no bullshit attitude. We're not going to go doing demos with showing pre-rendered stuff. Anything the fans, gamers, anyone will see about Far Cry 2 is going to be in-game, and it's gameplay from the game. That was super important for us. We don't want to bullshit gamers because we're tired of being bullshit ourselves, because we're gamers ourselves.
And there you have it. I couldn't have put it better myself. I hope my mum wasn't watching that. Stay tuned for more Fragdoll Far Cry 2 news coming your way very soon.